today we're making cheesecake.
This is the perfect cheesecake recipe. I love this so much for so many reasons. It's a smaller size so you don't overeat. It's automatic portion control. And when you make it in the pressure cooker, it's really tender and moist. It's never over baked or dry. It's really good.
When you make a cheesecake in the oven, you actually add a water bath. So baking it in the pressure cooker, you already have that nice moist environment.
Built in, yep.
So the first step is to make the crust. All we're going to do is crush up some graham cracker crumbs, mix in a little butter, and then put it into our springform pan.
Why do you add the butter? Just to make it stick together?
Yeah, it makes it nice crust, and without the butter, it would just kind of fall apart.
Okay.
So we're using a springform pan today, but you could also use a
push pan. So the springform pan, I'm sure most of you are familiar with them. I wasn't until we started making cheesecakes. It separates this way, so you've got your little ring that makes it hug it tightly closed. You want the little bump part to go up. I got bewildered for a little while trying to put it on backwards, but you want the little bump up, put it down, tighten it. A push pan looks like this, but instead of having the outside come off, the bottom comes up
the
through.
center comes up through the middle.
Yeah. Must be related. Does that look pretty good?
It's looking good. You just want to mix the butter in really well so that all the crumbs are coated. You can crush up graham crackers, or I often do the shortcut, and they have them already in crumbs at the store, so it's a little more expensive to do it that way, but it's a shortcut.
My kids like to help out by crushing the crumbs. It's something that they can do, and I put it in a Ziploc bag so they don't make too big a mess.
And do you use a rolling pin to crush them, or how do you do that?
We use our tart tamper.
Oh,
and
do you?
Smash.
Tell them about the tart tamper.
So this tart tamper, it's not all that expensive. It's got a little itty bitty side and a bigger size. It's like what, like $4 on Amazon. It's not very expensive. We use this to press our graham cracker crumbs into place. But it's really useful for a smasher of any kind. So if you have like chicken, you can put it in a Ziploc and use that as a, why do you beat it? You get it nice and thin to make your chicken
to make
piccata.
cutlets?
Yeah, cutlets.
Yeah.
So, or nuts or anything for toppings, we use that for this. We use it a lot.
Awesome. But if you didn't have a tamper, you could use a shot glass, works really well.
Any glass that's kind of
juice
straighter
glass.
on the sides.
You just need a flat bottom.
So Mom and I do things different. I like to make my graham cracker crust straight across the bottom. Mom likes to push hers up the sides just a little bit. Why?
Classic cheesecake has a little bit of crust that goes up around the sides, I guess just so you get more crust in that first bite. I don't know.
Okay.
So I usually do that.
Do you eat it from the behind? I always eat it from the point.
Eat it from the point back.
So this is how I make mine nice and flat. How do you make yours, Mom?
So if you want a little bit of a rim, once you get to this flat stage, just kind of push it towards the edges.
You don't want to go up too high. If you go up above where the cheesecake batter is going to be, it's going to get soggy from the condensation of the steam. So you want to make sure it's like, what, half an inch-ish?
Yeah, you wouldn't want much more than half an inch. Just kind of press it in there, and then we're going to put it in the freezer, and that helps to set the cheesecake. The butter will firm up, and it'll be ready to do our filling.
It'll be lovely.
Yeah. Okay, so we made the crust, and now we're going to make the filling.
By the way, I'm Jen.
And I'm Barbara.
We blog at pressurecookingtoday.com. We love to work with all kinds of pressure cookers. So we have our cream cheese. We've got one unwrapped already in there, and we've got this other one. I would struggle a lot to tell when a cream cheese was room temperature, when it was done enough. And it doesn't have to be like the same temperature as your hand. You literally, if it matches the counter, you're pretty good. If it indents kind of easy when you push on it, it's good.
Right.
So.
And it can take a couple hours to get to room temperature, but if you are in a hurry, want to get it done, then we have a tip.
Yep, you get a bowl of warm water, not hot water, that's a disaster, warm water, and you, while it's still in the silver wrapper, you just put it in. Sometimes you can put it in a Ziploc if you're worried.
Yeah.
Put it in the water and let it soak for what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, and I usually flip it once or twice so that the top side gets the same amount of warmth.
And same for the eggs. You can add those at about 5 minutes in, and that'll help heat it up.
And it's super important when you're doing cheesecake that your ingredients are room temperature. You don't want to over mix your cream cheese because that causes air bubbles, it'll cause it to rise, and you don't want that.
In our Instant Pot cooking class, we actually made a video of what it looks like when you use ingredients right out of the fridge, and it was not a pretty looking cheesecake.
No, I mean it can overflow the pan,
and if you beat it enough to get it to be smooth, it raises up and sinks, and it's chunky. It's not so great. So we've got our eggs here.
So we're just going to mix the sugar with the cream cheese at first.
That's right.
So half a cup of sugar.
Yes. Good, half a cup. So over here.
Awesome. I think that's good. Do you think that's good?
I do too. All right. So one of the reasons Mom is using a hand mixer here is it's really important not to overbeat your ingredients. And even in my KitchenAid mixer, it's kind of tricky not to. So we have a hand mixer that we pretty much use just for cheesecakes.
Yeah, and I just used it on a low speed, and it only took about a minute. But you can see that there's no lumps. It was really nice and soft. So just go ahead and give it a stir. If there's no lumps, you're good to go. If there are lumps, sometimes I'll just smush them on the side of the bowl.
Okay.
So that's another tip. But now we're going to go ahead and add the eggs one at a time.
So we have them. What do we do with this? Eat it?
Just put it in the bowl.
We have 2 eggs that we've cracked in here, and we just kind of loop it in until one egg goes in. And then that's about 1 egg.
Okay, go ahead and add the other one. And go ahead and add the vanilla. Okay.
See how smooth that is? That is smooth and nice. And take those?
Yeah, I'll take those. And I'll just give it a stir here, make sure there's no cream cheese on the bottom that's not incorporated. Again, if you have any lumps, just smush it in on the side.
It's never going to be completely perfect. You don't ever want to beat it so long that you get it to completely lump free, because then it raises too much.
That's the texture you want right there.
It's really good looking.
All right, so let's get our crust from the freezer, and we can go ahead and pour the cheesecake right onto the top of the crust.
Nope. You want me to do that?
Yeah.
Yes. So you just scrape right along the sides, get all the stuff out. That's so smooth, Mom.
It's gonna make a great cheesecake.
We really like cheesecake. Is that good enough?
Yeah?
Did you get the rest of it?
That's good.
Okay.
And that just gives you something to lick a little later. Although you really shouldn't,
Oh yeah,
because
eggs are bad.
so you just give it a little shake there, smooth out that top, and then grab our sling.
So this is a sling. OXO sells them, Instant Pot sells them, but it's got this nice wide base for a trivet, and carefully lift it. You see how nice that springform pan fits just right inside there? So nice, and then it's got the built-in handles that you can seal up. We love it. If you don't have a sling like this, you can make your own out of aluminum foil. You just get like a big old chunk of aluminum foil, fold it into thirds.
See, so it's like a long
strip,
flat piece.
and then you center it on top, and it gives you the same little lifter.
And if you do that with aluminum foil, you want to use a trivet. But this has that thicker bottom, so it acts as a trivet.
Okay, so you got a pressure cooker.
Our inner pot.
Always put that in.
Okay, so you add your water, a cup of water.
I always like to add the water first, just so I don't forget to put it in. I have had times before where I go to pressure cook and nothing happens because I didn't add the water. carefully lower your cheesecake in. If you are not using one of the slings with the built-in trivet, you'd want to put a trivet down and then lower your...
And then fold the tin foil out of the way.
Yeah, whatever you do, you want to fold the top out of the way so it doesn't interfere with the lid closing. Just check to make sure your ring is in place. Lock it in place and 25-minute cook time.
Okay. So you just want to make sure that you loosen the cheesecake from the sides of the springform pan a little bit.
And same if you're using a push pan, same story. You just want to make sure that there's not going to be any cheesecake or anything that's going to stick to the edge and tear away from the cheesecake when you take it out.
Okay.
So now just cross your fingers.
There you go.
Nice and pretty. Now you can see on the top there's a little bit of areas where it looks like water kind of condensed on top.
Yeah, little droplets, and I just use the corner of a paper towel to soak that up.
Yep. And then one of my favorite methods is you can either cover it with like a ganache, or if you can get the same spatula. You can get it warm with like wet water, dry it off, and then just run it over the top of it, and it smooths out really nice. So that's what I do if I'm serving a naked cheesecake.
Right, so you could cut it right here and serve it off of this, but if you want to be fancy, you can serve it on a
fancy little stand.
Okay.
Love it. Okay, so we've got
this
giant spatula.
Yeah, the easiest way is just to get this underneath, and it really goes pretty easy. You just slip it underneath till it comes out, and
spin.
This one came off really easy.
You grease the pan really well.
There you go.
Okay, and then I'll just take like a little
crumbs that you can clean up.
Yeah, and then maybe eat them.
Got a little strawberry we can decorate the top with. All right.
So you've got this beautiful strawberry. We just made a bunch of vertical cuts in it, and then you just kind of push them apart gently, right?
Fan it out just a little bit.
That. Is that good?
Uh-huh.
And then you just
decorate the middle. That looks really fun on a buffet. These cakes are so fun to serve different flavors. It's just a great little size.
We make cheesecake a lot. You're going to find a lot of cheesecake recipes on our Pressure Cooking Today website.
We've got a peanut butter
with like chopped up Reese's peanut butter cups on top.
I've got a Rolo one.
Nutella one. That one's so good. A strawberry one with like a strawberry topping that like, oh my goodness, it's amazing on cheesecake, and it's delicious on like oatmeal. We make that a lot.
Red, white, and blue for 4th of July.
That's a fun one. We've got lots of options. Like seriously, like what, 30 now?
Right. So let's cut a slice, huh?
Okay. So we've got our handy dandy plate, and Mom is the expert here.
And then get some strawberry topping. Just scoop that off to the side.
Just eat this right now.
So if you want, you can just use a paper towel or run this under hot water to clean it off so you get some nice clean cuts.
And you clean your knife between cuts. That makes a big difference. I'm gonna move your pretty strawberry. Maybe I'll put it on the plate next to your pretty cheesecake.
And then just
put
some
for
topping on.
How's that, Mom?
Awesome. This is a homemade strawberry sauce, but you could use canned if you want. But
canned cherry is always a standby.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's good with just fresh berries. We often will make it with like sliced strawberries, blueberries, mangoes, just whatever's in season. It's delicious.
So you're gonna love this. Definitely try cheesecake in the pressure cooker.
Yeah.